Hi everyone, it's Craig, and this is a new mindfulness video. And this time I'm going to sort of talk through various themes, of which this video is about developing acceptance of everything, which sounds a pretty tall order. But this is what we're trying in mindfulness, is to try and accept what happens in the moment. If we don't accept what happens in the moment, we go into our head and we start thinking about the future or the past. And that takes us away from mindfulness and takes us away from the present moment into thinking about things. So the picture here on the screen, there's a person, and yes, they're thinking about the future and the past. So they're in their head, they're thinking thoughts coming out, and you could see they're not looking particularly happy. The happiness in you is from the present moment. It's when you're engaged with what is, with acceptance, you get happiness. It's one of these byproducts, if you like, of being present. So when you're not happy, when there's something going on in your life that you're not liking or you're judging, you tend to not be as happy. So that's why there's a sort of frowny face. And you could say this is resisting what is. So when you resist what is, it doesn't matter whether it's the rain or your cup of tea being too cold, or someone's had an argument with you, or you're feeling emotional and you wish you weren't. We resist things like our anxiety because we don't want them. Whenever you resist things like that, you stay in your head, and it's kind of, you're thinking about yourself. You're in what we call ego mind, where a lot of the thoughts of past and future are about us. So I, me, and my, as it says there on the sheet, thoughts of the self. So this is things like, I wish I wasn't anxious. If only this was different, I'd be happier. You see the I there in those sentences. And those kind of thoughts, they're very judgmental as well. They tend to have a negative bias as well. We tend to think of the worst case scenarios sometimes, or we tend to dwell on things that make us suffer rather than the joyful moments and the gratitudes and things that are going well for us. It's rare for us on a Monday morning, for example, if we're going to work, to wake up and go, yes, another Monday morning, I can't wait. It's kind of like, oh, I've got all this to do, I've got that to do. I wish it was still Sunday evening when I had space to do nothing. Now I've got to do lots of stuff. I'm not really enjoying it. I've got to get up. It's cold, it's wet, huffy puffy. That's what happens. You end up with an emotion, or a heaviness. So the more you judge, the more you resist what is. You're resisting the cold, you're resisting getting up in the morning, you're resisting a Monday, you're resisting going to work perhaps, maybe you're resisting staying at home even. We all get problems in the moment that we don't want to stay with, especially when the moment is uncomfortable or painful. We tend to want to avoid it at all costs, distract from it, so our mind thinks of lots of things for us to do. Go on Facebook, we'll go on our mobile phones, we'll check our social media, we'll watch a movie, or we'll eat, or we'll do something, anything to stop just being present with whatever is going on in this moment. And mindfulness teaches us, or is practicing us, to engage with the present moment, to be with what is. As soon as you switch from resisting what is to accepting what is, that's when your healing begins to start. So this kind of constant thought process, this future and past thinking that we do, leads to a heavy body. So we feel heavier, we feel tired, more tension in us, potential stress, there's fear emotions coming up in our body. So it says fear on the sheet there with the person who's unhappy. And it also says selfish because they're thinking of themselves. It's not a derogatory term, they're just thinking of themselves. they're in their ego. And when you're in your ego, that's where it's based on fear, and you'll get fear emotions start to come the longer you're up here ruminating or mulling over something. So that could be annoyance, it could be irritation, it could be anger, it could be anxiety or nervousness, it could be worry, doubt, insecurity, all these kind of things, guilt, regret, you know. So those emotions come from a lot of thinking that's not present. You're not with the moment. You're thinking about things. So you've left the moment. And that can lead ultimately to sort of mental and physical health and illness. So this is why we practice mindfulness, to try and ground us in the moment and to try and develop acceptance of everything. So just scrolling down on this sheet. Yeah, bear with me. Here we go. So this is a way, some ways of developing acceptance of everything. What we're trying to do is be in the moment without judging it. We're trying to use our awareness, which is always with us. I can be aware of my breath. I can be aware of the chair I'm sitting on. I can be aware of my cup of tea if I'm drinking it. I can be aware of washing the dishes if I'm washing the dishes. I can notice when my mind wanders away from the moment into thinking about things or judging things. So these three practices that I've got here on this sheet, developing acceptance of everything, is a practice. We're trying to observe ourselves. We're trying to observe when we resist the moment. And sometimes it's good. First practice is to tune back to our body. So it says body scan there on the sheet. So tuning into your body is a good practice. So whenever you're feeling uncomfortable, you're fed up, you're huffy puffy, you get up on a Monday morning and you're rushing around, you're not really tuning into your body. You're just in your head going, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I'm fed up already, I haven't even started yet. Stop. There's a little acronym there on the sheet. It says stop, take a breath, observe. Observe what's going on in your body. Tune in to your body. How is your body feeling? You may catch that you're feeling heavy or grumpy or disgruntled. And that's when you try and come out of your head and into your body and just go, right, I feel tense, I feel disgruntled, I feel grumpy. Okay, I accept that I feel this way. But I'm going to be kind to myself and my body because I'm going to pause. You know what? I'm going to breathe. Just for a minute, I'm just going to ground myself back into the present moment. Then I'm not thinking about my to-do lists or my problems. I am back in the moment. That's healing straight away. You're letting go of your thoughts. You're calming your body in those processes. The longer you're in the present moment for, as I say, healing, shifts, changes happen. You're just observing them coming and going. So tuning into your body and how you feel is great practice because you start to notice more of how you feel. You might notice patterns. You might notice that every Monday morning you're feeling grumpy. You're noticing, what you do to fill those gaps and the boredom and the loneliness and the frustrations in your life. The frustrations in your life come from thinking too much about them. So tuning into your body, coming back to yourself. You can do this at any time. You can feel the ground under your feet. Sometimes if you're feeling annoyed, great practice to stop for a few minutes. I've got try 5 minutes here on this sheet. It's not long. We've all got 5 minutes really that we can pause to sit somewhere, maybe with a cup of tea, just feeling the chair, feeling the tea, feeling where you are, feeling the ground under you. And you could do a scan of your body. You start with your feet. How do my feet feel? Wiggle your toes. Yeah, they feel all right. You might not feel anything particularly, but at least you're noticing what's happening. And then you move up from your feet, you go up to your legs and your knees and your upper legs and to your connection on the chair if you're sitting, and you're just scanning your body. It's like, how's my body doing? You can breathe to these areas, and this is when it becomes like a body scan meditation, of which there are many. If you Google them, I'm not going to do one here today, but yes, body scan meditations. And it goes through your body all the way up to your head, how my ears, how my nose, how's my mouth doing? Am I smiling? Am I frowning? You're starting to notice things. Am I hunched? Do I need to shrug my shoulders? And is my neck sore? Are there physical pains or are there emotional pains going on? So what you're trying to do is stop what you're doing just for a moment. Come back to yourself. Good practice, especially when you are feeling resistant to something. Because any sort of resistance is non-acceptance, is a judgment of something. So that moves on to this noticing judgments bit on this sheet. And no judgment is a foundation of mindful practice. We let things come in each moment and we try not to attach to them. We try not to judge them. We just treat them as what they are, which is a temporary state. So you might have a dog barking outside your house, for example. If you're getting annoyed at the dog barking, then you're judging the dog barking to be wrong or loud or noisy or a pain, and it's disturbing you. But if you can tune into the dog and just go, I'm just hearing a dog barking, that's what's happening. I accept that a dog is barking. I'm not going to get annoyed, I'm just listening to the sound and I'm noticing maybe the gaps between the barking. In fact, I'm just noticing how it's making me feel as well. I'm noticing that initially it was getting me wound up, but I've caught that with my mindfulness. So I'm letting go of my woundy upness. I'm just tuning into the sounds of the dog. I'm not judging the dog. So it can be a difficult practice. And I say difficult, which is a judgment in itself. It's a practice because we notice when we do judge or when we do get an emotional response to something external to us, and we pause. We do the stop practice. We recognize that in us is resistance. This is the point of mindfulness because when you notice resistance, there's a choice, there's a chance that you can let go of that resistance. Can you let go of the judging of the barking dog? Maybe yes, maybe not. But you're trying to let go of judgment. This is a practice. So notice when we judge ourselves, which happens a lot, that's our ego telling us we're no good or we're worthless or we're doubting ourselves. Catch it with your mindfulness. Have a breath. Breathing in, breathing out. This is why we sit. This is why we meditate, so that we can see, so that we can notice what our emotions are doing, what they're saying to us. So letting go of judgment is letting go of thinking. It's letting go of the past, because if you're judging a dog barking, you're in the past because the dog has already barked. So you've kind of, you've left the present moment in your head. So you try and observe facts. Dog is barking. That's a fact because I'm hearing it right now. It's not, you're not labeling it to be unpleasant or annoying or a waste of time or it's disturbing my inner peace or I wish I lived somewhere different or why can't my neighbor do something about that dog or you're not up here. So that's what noticing judgments is. And you can have an experiment as you do your days. You can be wandering about places and you can be noticing, am I judging this? Am I judging that? Am I in my ego? Am I talking about me? Am I going, I don't like this. I wish this was different. I can't believe this is going on. For goodness sake, And are you noticing the emotions behind that too? Are you noticing the annoyance that the judging leads to annoyance? The more people judge, the more people are frightened of things. Certainly in situations where we have crises and issues in our life, we tend to judge more, we tend to be in our heads more, worrying and thinking and analysing and trying to solve and fix things. But often this head stuff only gets us so far. If there's emotions there that aren't looked at and aren't comforted, if you're not taking care of your emotions, they can carry you off into stress and into tension, and it becomes a habit. So this practice of noticing our judgments is actually helping calm you down. It's helping you become less fearful. You become more accepting of what's happening, what is, and that's what we're trying to do here. And breathing through all of it is very important. So, and there's another acronym there called RAIN, which says recognize your thoughts. It's like, oh gosh, yeah, I'm noticing that I'm judging the dog. Accept, okay, yeah, I accept I had that thought, that's fine, but how am I feeling? I identify in my body, that's the I in RAIN. What's going on? Annoyance. Okay, well, I need to nurture, I need to help myself. I need to self-compassion myself. I need to be kind to myself. So I'm breathing in my annoyance, my old friend, breathing out calmness. And this leads me on to the other one on the sheet, which is sitting with emotions. We run from our emotions. Sometimes we don't want our emotions because they're uncomfortable. Things like anxiety or anger, they're uncomfortable emotions. Why would we want to sit with those, you might ask? Why can't I just go and eat chocolate cake? That will help, won't it? But it helps for a little while, but the emotion is still there, and the emotion is always there until you sit with it, and you can be with it, and befriend it, and welcome it. So this is what this practice is, and again, it's an incredibly powerful practice. And please just tease the edges with it. Don't to jump straight into rage, because you won't be able to sit with rage. You've got to just notice whenever you're resisting something, resisting what is, and choosing to come back to yourself, noticing how you're feeling and what emotional state you're in. And if you're noticing there's an emotion, that's brilliant. You've noticed, you've recognized an emotion is in you. That's the first part of this practice. What is it? Am I worried? Am I doubting myself? Am I angry? Am I jealous? What is it? What is this emotion? And then you welcome that emotion in. It's kind of giving you a signal. It's trying to wake you up. Your body's sending you these emotions in order for you to become aware, to become back to the moment, because the moment is where your healing is. So your body's actually trying to heal yourself. Whenever you have anxiety, it's trying to heal you. It's trying to bring you back. It's not an enemy. It's not something that you want to get rid of. We don't want to get rid of any emotion because they're there. They're there to give us signals and learnings of our life. So if you can sit with things like anxiety and welcome it, treat it like your inner child. It's your old you when you were maybe 4 or 5 years old, just come to visit going, you know what? I'm scared. I'm anxious. I'm grouchy. I'm fed up. And you're like, oh yeah, well, I'll give you a hug. It's okay. We'll be fine. I'll breathe with you. I'm going to calm you down. Come here, let's have a hug. So you're sending kindness to that emotion and you're breathing with it. So you can breathe in the feeling of anxiety. Where is it in your body? Good to get curious about it. It's like, is it butterflies in my tummy and that's my heart beating? What is this anxiety? What does it feel like? You're grounding yourself in the moment. You're not thinking about your anxiety, because the more you think about your anxiety, it gets bigger, gets stronger, because you're not sitting with it. You're not there to take care of it. You're not present. So practice mindfulness when you can remember, it says there, because that will give you this noticing skill, this awareness. You'll grow your awareness the more you practice mindfulness. And that will help you get into grips of how you're feeling and what your emotions are and what your thoughts are and what judging you're doing and all of these things. These are things that are taking us away from the moment and into our unhappiness. So if you can notice that you're leaving the moment and you're judging the moment and you're emotional and you're resisting something, then you can get curious and come back to yourself with kindness, because you have to accept yourself. Acceptance of everything includes yourself. And whatever you've done and whatever you haven't done, it's fine. You are here. So at this moment, accept yourself. Breathe, come back, do mindfulness, practice being. It's going to help you through your life. So that's those 3 practices. And so what will happen is you'll look more happier, like this person here, who's more based on love and not thinking about themselves. They're not in this I, me, and my, I don't like, this is awful. They're not in judgment mode. They're selfless, They're thinking about other things, They're looking at the world. They're not just being bothered by it, They're seeing other points of view. The dog barking, it's not about this is annoying me. This is about, dog's barking, You can get curious about why a dog's barking. Maybe you'll get some insights. But you're looking outward, you're not looking inward in that regard. But you're accepting what is. So acceptance is also non-judgment, and it's based on love, it's based on compassion and kindness. Actually, your natural state is just to be. It's just to be kind and compassionate, just like any other entity on the planet, trees, animals, things like that. They're not sitting there judging other trees or judging other animals. They just be. They just do what they need to do. They do their nature. And that's it, They accept. They're with the flow of things. But as humans, we resist. It's good to notice the resistance. So when you're present, you're aware. So your awareness is there. Again, happiness can come. There's a possibility of happiness when you're more present. There's stronger love emotions in you. Like when you're relaxed, you have more energy. There's more things you can do. There's more compassion for other people. You're less rushy. You're gentle. You're peaceful, calm. These are the things we're after. Your mind and body will be healing naturally. You'll be healthy. That's what it is to practice mindfulness. And even if there's a lot of things going on around you, you can still have inner peace. You can still have a quiet mind. And that it comes from this acceptance of everything. So there's a few questions there just to finish on this sheet called Zen questions. And I like to ask these every so often just to see how zen I am, how accepting I am of things. And these are giving you clues of when you're not really accepting things. So how is your mental well-being? What's your feelings like week to week? Are you feeling light and full of energy, or are you heavy and grouchy and grumpy and frustrated most of the time? If that's you, practice some mindfulness, come back to being, meditate, breathe, notice your emotions, notice your judging, try and come back. That will help. These questions are here to guide you, not to beat yourself up with, because that would be non-acceptance. So how is your health? Do you have minor ailments every so often? Are you prone to colds or sore throats or headaches and things like that? Or do you have something worse, something underlying? Meditation and mindfulness can help with these things. It's good to try and accept where you are with what you have. Again, trying to let go of the thinking which makes some of these things worse. So practice being, again, will improve your health. And how happy are you? Because that's the bottom line. If your life is not happy, if there's no joy, then there's no mindfulness. All there is living in thoughts. And these thoughts are just formations, but we attach to them and we believe them and we become what we think. And the world around us becomes what we think too. So if we're thinking the world is a harsh, horrible, yucky place, then we'll be feeling that too. There's this interconnection between our thoughts and the universe and the world around us. So notice your happiness. If you're resisting things all the time, no happiness. You won't be content. You won't be at peace. So we practice peace with ourselves. That's the only way we're going to get peace into the world, is if we're peaceful ourselves. So notice your happiness. Your happiness is important. Sometimes we don't even want to be happy. We'd rather wallow in our suffering or our pain because we're used to it. Sometimes we think we shouldn't be happy. If other people aren't happy, why should we be? But you know what? It's good practice to be happy because it ripples out into the world, and you're helping the world by being happy. So notice, come back, be mindful. Your communication is another clue. Are you harsh in your language? Do you shout? Are you snippy? Are you irritable? Or are you gentle in your speech? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you compassionate? Do you see other people's points of view or other people's opinions? You don't get upset by them. You don't get offended by them. You're just noticing other people's points of view. You don't have to agree, but you can be gentle and you can be loving. We can all be kind to one another. And that, again, is an element of mindfulness. You get more kinder. So notice your speech. Notice what you say. It's all habits. It's all patterns that we have in our life. And they're all clues to where we're stuck, where we're not accepting things. So the more you can accept things, the better for you and the better for the world. So this is a lovely way to practice. So that's me. Thank you for listening, as always. And I will speak to you again another time. Just keep going and keep smiling and keep practicing your happiness. It's an important part of this world. So see you another time. Bye bye just now.